We're in the home of Margaret and Dale Robinson in Brenton, West Virginia. And Margaret, can you tell me what position you are in the family?
I was the 12th child, and in between Nancy and Larry. I'm the baby girl.
Okay, can you tell me about your name? How'd you get your name?
Um, Mom said I was named after a social worker, Margaret Bragg, and I was named after Aunt Ada.
Who is?
Margaret Ada, and she's Daddy's sister.
Okay. Can you tell me some things you remember about growing up and special roles that Grandpa or Granny played in your life as you were growing up, or other people played in your life?
Well, we all had a happy childhood growing up, and I wish every kid should have a life like us.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a lot of money, but we had a good home life and a good mom and dad. And Mom was she was clean, and they were both God-fearing people, and they taught us that all their life. And but we just had a good childhood.
Had a lot of fun.
Had a lot of fun. We were out playing all day long, and I don't think they always knew where we were, but we never did come home for lunch or anything. But I know I asked Mom one time, how do you know where we are? Don't you worry about us? And she said, well, yeah, I know where you are. And she said, I just ask the Lord to protect you. And He did. But okay, one of the things that stood out was when we were all little, we just automatically got up Sunday mornings. We went to Sunday school, and we walked from Davin up to Claypool Church every Sunday morning, and Daddy would go with us, and Mom would stay home and cook dinner, and oh my, there's one. We would get up Sunday morning, listen, ready for church. While we were getting ready, Mommy would have us a big breakfast every Sunday morning, and then we would go to church, and Daddy would go with us. Mom didn't go too often. She stayed home and took care of everything in her family. And we come back, she'd have us a big dinner cooked. We'd always have somebody to visit, and she'd usually be in the kitchen sweating. She usually had a towel on her shoulder, and she'd be singing. She sang a lot, and she sang Precious Memory a lot. And then we'd eat dinner and then go play. Sis played a big role in my life. She was, Mom always said she was a mother to me. I had two mommies. And I slept with her and did everything with her. I loved her so much. And when she got married, it like to kill her. And then after she got married to Bob, they didn't even let me know they was going to get married till that night. And anytime they'd done anything, they wouldn't let me know, because I would be right after them. And after she married Bob. Bob worked at a gas well, and she packed her furniture and dishes and everything on a Saturday. I think it's on a Sunday night was, and I knew something was up, but they didn't let me know. I thought this was moving to another house. I woke up the next morning, and Mom brought me a letter in that she had wrote me, and she told me that they were moving to Pennsylvania. I've got a job there, and she had left me a $5 bill, and that she'd be back in a couple of weeks and see me, and she would come and get me and let me stay with me some. But they didn't live there long, and
You were happy when they moved back?
oh yes. But I stayed with her a lot. Bob was jealous of me, and I was jealous of Bob. And I'd sleep with her and everything. And right after her, and she took care of all of us, helped. And she was older when she got married, and she was saw to it that we had what we needed. Well, us younger ones had it a lot easier than the older ones too. The older ones helped out, and we had, because of them, what we needed. Well, I'm sure we would have had it if Mommy and Daddy would have seen to it. But Sis played a big role in everybody's life, even the kids around, the people around her. She loved little kids. I remember when she got her first car, it was a black Chevrolet, and she'd have that car loaded down full of kids, taking them to Sunday school, and every Sunday morning. And but everybody loved her.
So when she had her first baby,
she had her first baby, and it was born dead. It was the same age of Patty. Patty's 2 days older than him. And so then she had Ronnie. And oh, I loved Ronnie so much. She had Ronnie, and he was a big old pretty baby. He weighed 10 pounds and 10 and a half ounces. And she had to have him by C-section. And she was pretty sick after she had him. And I stayed with her and helped her a lot. I guess I was about 10, 12 years old. Maybe 13. And I took care of Ronnie, and I gave him his first bath. And I remember I was laying on the bed, and I was washing his little burn, and he peed right in my face. And I said, and they always teased me after that, after what he done to me. Well, I said to him, I said, well, you little devil, you. And but he was so pretty. She died when she was 44 years old. And it really hurt everybody, hurt the whole community. But I was sick when I was 6 years old. I got double pneumonia, and I almost died. And Sis helped Mommy nurse me back to health. And Dr. Roberts in Maine, I got sick about November, December, I believe, and I didn't go back to school the rest of the year. I had to stay in bed. And I had pleurisy so bad, my sides and back would hurt. And I slept in the bedroom with Mommy. And there was a fireplace in there, and she would put mustard on a rag, cloth, make a poultice, and put that on my back. She kept it, and she'd hold it in front of the fireplace and get it real warm, and that helped me more than anything with my pleurisy. And it's when penicillin first came out. Dr. Roberts said it's that, and God's what saved my life. I had to have, I think it's about 4 shots a day. Well, Sis, he taught Sis how to give the shots, and she would come home from Guy and Eagle Coal Company. She worked there as secretary, and she would give me my shots. And before I could let her give me a shot, she would have the 50-cent piece for me. And I had a coffee can beside the bed that I gave her, and I had that full. And I don't know what I ever did with them, but I remember it so well. And I got real bad. The doctor gave me up. And Aunt Ada, I remember she used to come all the time and pray for me. And there was a lot of church people there that night. Mommy, I guess, had called them all in to have prayer. And Aunt Ada and Tom Brown, and they stick out. But I know, I don't remember doing it, but they said I did. They always teased me about it, especially Tom Brown. That I raised up out of the bed with all this prayer, and I told them everyone to get out of that room and leave me alone. And then I started getting better.
Talk up a little bit louder.
And I know when I got so bad, that one night, Daddy worked he worked away from home some, and I believe he was staying at Lively, and we didn't have a car, and they called Daddy home that I was bad, worse, and he worked around when he was more like an expert, I guess you'd call it, on dynamite that blow these mountains out and building roads and all. When they needed anybody, they'd come and get him. And my Daddy was called home that night. And
Frank, being sick while you were sick.
yeah, and Frank was sick while I was sick, and I don't know how she ever done it. And they worked so hard making a living for us, raising a garden, and I never did have to work in the fields like the other ones did near Larry Bayboy. Didn't have to work in the field, but I remember we used to take the wagon and take corn down in the Davin camp and sell it. And but the other ones all had to hoe in the field. And then Jim, he helped Mommy so much. And Mom always had a cow, she had chickens, Daddy had his pigs, horse. And I remember Mom got sick with arthritis in her hands once, and Jim would help her milk the cows. And when I would go with Jim. And Jim, he's just an old boy, I guess he's probably about 17, 18 years old, and we just little tiny things, and we get down and he'd squirt that milk and that whole hot milk and everything. That's some good news. And talk about Sis.
There.
No, I was talking about sis. I said I wished all the grandchildren could have known her. She was so good. And the older ones knew her. But I wished all of them could have. They really missed something. And I believe some of them would have turned out the way they had it, that she had lived. Her and Daddy Bud, because they played a big part in some of the grandchildren's lives, sis did. And but I wish they could have known her. And I wish she could have seen Ronnie's kids. And she'd been so happy. She loved kids better than anything. And DeWitt and Alberta, they lived beside of us there where Frankie Hunt lives now. DeWitt built that house. But that wasn't the house Alberta and him lived in. They tore it down. There was Priscilla and David and Sonja and all of us. We used to play together when we were little. Every day we played. We had us a playhouse there was no basement cellar like under that house. We had a playhouse and we used to play under that floor a lot. And I know one day we used to sleep and smoke. And we were down there and they had that door tightly closed and smoking, and the smoke was just boiling. DeWitt happened to open the door. And he put them cigarettes out real quick and you heard him coming. And he opened the door and he said, "Somebody here smoke?" And we said, "No." He just sort of grinned and just turned around and walked away. But told him he wasn't smoking. And Priscilla and I, we were always real close when we were growing up. And she's older than me. She's 6 months and I'm around. David, he's in between me and Priscilla. He's older than Larry. And that we all played so good when we was little. And Sonja, we used to whip her all the time. She was right in their way. And tore up everything we played with. Because we wouldn't let her play with us.
You were mean to.
We were mean to her. But we had a good time. Me and Priscilla, we used to have a playhouse over. There's a big rock across from Frank's house. We used to wade the creek and go over there, and we'd take our dolls and everything, and then we'd have this playhouse set up, make different things out of rocks, and have a real good time. And then when we was all little, we used to swim in dark hole. And all of us.
Did Grandpa go swim with you?
No. Tom Black and Chip Chip. He was taking a bath. Dale and we got married December 15th, 1956. Yeah. Been married 30 years. 36 years this year. This December. And it'll be 37. And we had 3 children. We had 3 children, Sherry, Mark, and Beth. And Sherry's married to Timmy Stratton. Debbie, Mark married Debbie Painter. And then we have 4 grandchildren. Mark David, Carrie, Sarah, and Ashley. And I met Dale in Ohio. I went out to stay with Hanson Jones for Bob, and I met him and we married. And then we married ever since.
What did Grand Grandpa think about you getting married?
Well, Daddy was sick at the time, and they had to sign papers for me, which I was only 16 and Dale was 19. And Mom came out to sign the papers. We had to go to the courthouse and do it, and she had to stop in Logan and get something signed for Daddy, the judge there. And she came out and we got married. And had a nice little church wedding and everything.
Who was your flower girl?
I had 2 little flower girls. Sheila was one of the flower girls, and another little girl, Debbie Bowman was her name. I had a redhead and a blackheaded. They were so cute. But we had a real nice wedding. And
I'm gonna show that picture.
we moved. We lived in Ohio for I forget how many years, but we moved back. Dale was from Mason, Ohio, and that's where we lived. And I had all my kids there, and we moved back to West Virginia, and he went to work here. And that's when I think I got the closest to Mom. Was when I was little. Mommy, she worked about all the time, canned and had something to do every day. And I think I got the closest to her then. And my kids did too. And they stayed with her a lot at night when she was by herself. And we lived right beside of her. And we got real close to one another, to my kids. And she would come over at night and stay some with us and eat, and but we just had a good time together. Frank is such a good person, and he and Daddy used to build houses all the time, and Frank was a real good carpenter and builder. And you can go up Huff Creek, because all of the houses he started at Cummins Edition, they started there. He and Maxine he would build a house, they'd move in it, and then they would sell it, and then they'd start another one, move in it, and sell it. But there's, I guess, 8 or 10 houses he built up there in Cummins Editions, and then down there at Claypool, and he built the one that they live in now, a big one, and several around.